Happy Saturday. Welcome to inking all my pens for August. We have a pretty random pen selection this month because I am getting ready for the Atlas Sidewalk sale and also for a trip. And so I've sort of pulled everything I think I might want in pretty much every imaginable nib size. So we're going to ink these all up. Some of them just need to be topped up. And then some of them are totally getting new colors, and I've cleaned this week. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be chill. Feel free to ask whatever questions you want, and we're gonna get into it. I think I'm gonna start with the pens that are getting new inks in them, and then we're gonna move into the stuff that's getting just topped up. So I'm gonna sort this a bit better, just so that it's a little less insane. Also, some of these I topped up in like the past 4 or 5 days, and so I don't know that they'll actually need more ink, but really I'm trying not to have to ink anything next week. I sort of want this to be the last time I have to ink pens before I'm leaving. The stuff that I use the most, like my black ink, I will be taking a sample vial of on the trip with me. Everything else, though, the goal is that it will get inked once and it will stay inked. So let's line up these inks, put the pens in front of them, sort of figure this out. All right, that's your home. This is your home. All right. So these are the new pens this month that are getting inked, on top of the 7 I currently have inked. So I already have 7 inked. We'll go over those. Those are getting topped up. The new ones this month that are getting inked, the 2 Leonardos are getting inked with new colors. My TWSBI Eco is getting inked up with a different color. My Prera is getting re-inked with a different color, and then my 2 JinHao 82s, one with an architect and one's got a bent nib, both are getting inked up with different colors. One of them was inked up with, what was it inked up with recently? Whatever it was, I didn't like it very much. And this has water in it for whatever reason. Apparently I didn't dry well enough after I cleaned it. Don't know where my Q-tips are. That's annoying. Oh, I see them. So, what was in that 82 that I didn't like? Oh, sorry, in the Architect. Oh, it was a gray. Actually, I liked the gray in the Architect. It wasn't a bad ink for the Architect. It just wasn't what I decided I wanted in the long run. I have to say, the Con 40, I just keep getting, I don't know if other people have this problem, every time I clean it, I get water trapped in this section. Every time. No matter what, I get water trapped. I also hate refilling a Con 40. So I guess I need to see if I've got a syringe for it, because I can never get them to fill properly without filling them like an eyedropper and filling the converter with a syringe. So, all right, you're getting pink, you're getting Madame Mulberry, which I've used the bent. You're getting Treasured Manuscript, you're getting that, you're getting Celadon Cat, you're getting a Sailor ink. If you've got questions about pens or inks this month, feel free to leave them below, and I will do my best to answer them. There is going to be a, like, everything I've got inked up video, but honestly, it's far more fun to re-ink pens on live than it is to just do it by myself. There's your eyedropper. And yes, I am so extra that I have a pipette for all my bottles so that when I refill stuff, it's really easy. It's great. I love it. So let's get into this. So what do I want to start with? I'm going to start with the Eco. Ecos are easy to re-ink. Though I don't know that I've ever run my Eco dry. I got bored of the color. So with my Eco I got bored, and so the ink from the rest of my Eco is in this vial, and I'll use it probably back in the Eco. I just got bored of the gray, and so I've decided to switch it up. And I tend to just keep the samples like this next to my desk, unlabeled, which is a really fun game. But it means that I just switch out when I get bored. Everything else, though, I run it dry, or run it almost all the way dry. So I just need to stop refilling my Eco fully, really. So the Eco's getting Madame Mulberry, which normally goes in my Parker 21, which hasn't been in an inked video for a hot second, but I also don't like traveling with it. So and because there's a huge altitude change, I mostly use them for notes. But because there's a huge altitude change between where I am and my final destination, I'm going to try and get as much of the air pockets out of these pens as I can. It's pretty good. I mostly use mine for taking notes, and taking notes on everything from very nice paper to sticky notes. I take notes on sticky note paper all the time. There are pens that work better on sticky notes than others. There are sticky notes that work better than others. Name brand Post-it notes actually work fairly well with most fountain pen inks. There are some that don't work as well, but for the most part, I find that fountain pen inks work well on name brand sticky notes. They work less well on off-brand sticky notes. There's just something about the paper that doesn't work. So this Leonardo is getting Monteverde Rose Pink. Got this as a sample from somebody, and then it was like, I believe on Prime Day, the bottle was like $8 Canadian for the 90 ml. The only issue is I, for the life of me, can't get these bottles open. They are so hard to open. So I really like this pink color. It's very pretty. And I think it like matches well with the pen. I think it's going to be really pretty in this pen. I did have a Sailor ink in this pen previously, but I'm ready for something different. Yeah, so I pretty much don't use ballpoints anymore. I have a fountain pen inked up that I solely use for birthday cards. I have fountain pens that I just use for notes. Like, I have replaced all of my fountain pens, all of my ballpoints with fountain pens, and the whole reason I really started to use fountain pens was because I, with most of my art, use a really tiny fine liner, but was going through one every about 6 weeks, and they were becoming really hard to find at the peak of the pandemic because they're made in foreign countries and they were being imported. So I started to use a fountain pen with Sailor Black waterproof ink in it, or that's sort of what, like I had already been working with a fountain pen company, but that's what made me go, oh, I wonder if I could start to replace all my pens with fountain pens. So Treasured Manuscript is going in the JinHao 82 with the very fancy bent nib. I showed this off again in a reel recently. I got it for my birthday last year. It was my birthday present to myself, actually. And I really like it. It just hasn't been in an inked up recently. I don't know why. I struggle with figuring out what colors to put into it when I ink it up. So it's getting inked up this month. And that converter is absolutely full of air. Right. So when I fly, I leave. I tend to get rid of all the air. There's also there's such a altitude difference between where I am right now and my final destination over the next couple weeks that I just don't want to risk it. So I'm going to do what I can to minimize leakage by getting rid of all the air bubbles. Do I want this full all the way? I don't want this full all the way. I just got Treasured Manuscripts, and I have to say, it looks a lot more like olive undertoned than it looked online on the website. So I do wish I'd bought Oyster Hour. So I'll see if I can find a bottle of Oyster Hour somewhere at some point, because I do really like the color. I was hoping this would be like a slightly paler Oyster Hour, like it is on the box. And in reality, it's sort of olivey green undertoned, which, well, it isn't a bad thing. I do really like Peter Moss, and it's sort of like a very pale Peter Moss. It just isn't what I wanted at the time. I've gone back and forth over what I'm putting in this pen. I do now once again have a bottle of Aurora Borealis, but I'm fairly sure that what I want to put into it is Celadon Cat, just because it's, one, Celadon Cat goes with this bottom part down here, but also I prefer, do I not have, where's my ink swatch book? Oh, here it is. You haven't seen these yet unless you follow me on Instagram. My new Galen leather covers for travelers that I got as part of their second sale. That's Diamine, which is a perfect match. That being said, I don't know that I want it in a flex pen for the next couple weeks. So I'm leaning towards Celadon Cat, which I think would look really fun in a flex pen and doesn't go terribly with this pen. So I might leave this one for last, the Page of All the Blues. So I, for the most part, use dye base. The only pigment one I have currently inked up is my black ink. So I might leave this for last. I might do this two next sailors and then come back to this, because I'm really not sure what ink I want, because both Aurora Borealis and Celadon Cat go, but I think I'll use Celadon Cat in it more. So let's do this Con 40. I hate the Con 40. I desperately wish any other nib or any other converter fit in this pen. not nib. I actually like the nib in this pen. I just don't like the converter in it. This is Sailor Gentle. Is this First Snow? I believe it's First Snow. What is it? Snow Light Blue. There it is. I really like this color. I think it's going to be a fun, like, spring summer color. I did also debate putting definitely Peachy in a pen, but I think that's what I want. I haven't had it in a pen yet. And I did debate putting Sabi Midori also in that Leonardo, but I don't know that I want to put it in the Leonardo yet. It is going to go in that Leonardo probably in like September, October for fall, but I think I still want something a bit lighter because it's like spring, summer. So for now, this ink is going to go in. And that's why I hate the Con 40. So we are pretty much all the way to the end, and there's no ink in this chamber. We've got ink through the nib. And so what I do, which is probably not what you're supposed to do, is I pop this section off, stick it there, twist this all the way down. Oh, now the water's coming out of the bottom. And then use this lovely little pipette. And hope that it's going to actually go down. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I hate the Con 40s. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's an entire population of people, much like me, that really dislike the Con 40. I love the Con 70. Both Mom and I, though, have pilot pens that use the Con 40, and I hate having to fill them. I have never found a way to fill them that doesn't make me want to scream. Oh, there we got the air bubble. Because it's, I don't know, filling a fountain pen shouldn't be this hard. But I can never get it to fill the way it's supposed to fill. And just like that, we have our nib totally saturated, and this pen is ready to go, which is, again, not the most practical way to fill a pen. It's really annoying, but it does result in a filled Con 40. So I will accept annoying. And then we have this one. So the Architect is getting Sailor Sakura from the manual line. Normally I put darker colors in the Architect, but there's just something about the Architect right now that I want to put something really pastel-y and fun. I think it'll look good. So we are going to put this ink in here. Once again, massive air bubble. All right, that's full. I think I'm gonna go with Solid on Cat. I think I like Celadon Cat enough to put Celadon Cat in the thing, whatever it's called, the Leonardo Momento Grande. That was a Limited Pens Korea exclusive, and I can't remember what the model is. It's probably not going to fit in this Diamine bottle, though. Oh, I hate the lids on these bottles. They've got no texture to them, and it makes them so hard to get undone. Oh, you're not going to fit in this bottle, are you? All right. What do I want to do? Okay. Okay. All right. Get these lids back on. I like sort of have to turn the bottle and just press down the lid and hope for the best. There. I think I got that on all the way. All right, so that doesn't fit in that bottle, which means it's not going to fit in any of the little Ferris wheel press bottles. I don't want to ink you up with any of the 85 ml Ferris wheel press colors I have. Okay. Maybe we'll come back to this one. Maybe this will be the very last pen. If you have an ink recommendation for this pen, let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I have it. Does this fit in? I'm not going to ink it up with what's in the sample vial, but does this fit in? It does. So if I really wanted to, I could put ink in a sample vial, or I could pull something from a sample vial. Okay. All right. That's an idea. I might pull something from a sample vial. So, the first pen, which isn't actually being re-inked with this, is the Kaweco highlighter, which is going to get inked with the highlighter ink. Currently, though, I don't have an extra Kaweco converter, and so for now, it's just getting the Kaweco highlighter cartridges, because when you buy the pen, I believe it comes with like 7 or 8 cartridges. So I've got some left. Huh. Attention, the highlighter ink is only suited for the Duo fountain pen. Is it really, though? And what is that model of fountain pen? M205. Ha! Any guesses on how expensive that fountain pen is? Why is that? Do not. Okay. I'm gonna need an explanation, Pelican, on why. So the pen, the only pen you're supposed to use this ink with, seems to be $230 Canadian. That's not happening. But also, when I bought the ink, they didn't say anything. So I have used this in other pens. So now I want to know why they say you can only use it in that one pen. That's interesting. I want to know the answer to that now. You've been inked with that. That Leonardo's just not inked yet. Because really, why can't I ink other pens with that ink? This is an obsessive number of pens this month. I'm aware of that. But I enjoy them all. All right. The next batch of pens is all the other stuff. I like how I didn't tuck things up as I was moving things down. Also, apparently that Goldspot Leonardo is now sold out because I got comments on a Facebook post about it asking if I knew anyone who was selling theirs yet because they wanted to buy one and it was sold out. So that did not last long as collaborations go before it was sold out. It is very pretty though, and I adore mine. So I don't think this actually needs to be inked again. It holds a surprising amount of ink. It is the Wancher PuChiCo from Penrealm, I believe sells them. It's the only place I've seen them actually. I had forgotten how much noise it had made on Reddit when they came out until I was looking at something recently on Reddit and came across it again and went, oh, I actually own one of those now. Really, they're not large at all. It's actually a little bit smaller than a Diamine 30 ml bottle. And I don't think I need to ink it again this month. It's still got a good amount of ink in it, and I've been using it quite a lot actually. I think it'll probably stay a neutral color. I like having a very tiny neutral pen, surprisingly, so I'm probably going to keep it as a neutral. Then we have, let's take a look at this one. This is my birthday card pen, as I describe it. It is the only pen I keep inked up with glitter ink. It's actually still pretty full. I haven't had to write many cards this month, but I keep it inked up with Ferris wheel press plated gold tresses because I don't have Pelikan Golden Barrel, which I think would be my absolute favorite gold ink. This one though is a pretty solid gold ink, and so I actually own 2 bottles of it because I've used probably half of this bottle since it came out in December. So this is something that's always inked. We have Dominant Industries Evening. When it was time to ink this pen, I did a poll and let you pick, you the public, pick which purple ink I ended up inking up this pen with between Vinta Mascara, Dominant Industries Evening, and Sailor Neko Nikani, I think is how you say it. And Dominant Industries Evening won, which I think was the right choice. It's almost a perfect match. But I think I inked this last week, so I don't know that it'll need to be re-inked. Yeah, it doesn't need to be re-inked because it was out last week, or almost out last week. So I did top it up. I will say that the Kaweco pens I find write far longer than I think they'll write as pens go. They just sort of keep going. And I do really like that. And this ink, I bought Atlas last chance, but currently Goldspot still has it. So if you want to pick it up, because it is a very pretty purple, Goldspot still has it. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Maybe. It's maybe in here. Maybe it's not. Maybe I didn't swatch until I got home. Ah, there it is. So there's the Vinta and there's the Dominant Industries. But I really love sort of the pinky undertones of the Dominant Industries. The Vinta one's nice, it's just a bit too cool. But the Dominant Industries one is very, very pretty. Why did I put that down there? I'm going to need it again in a little bit. Then we have my black pen, which is a HongDian Forest and Extra Fine. This always seems to need to be re-inked, so I'm wrong. Have I used this week? I don't know. What I like about this pen is, even though it's a snap cap, it seems to seal for a very long time. I can go a week or two without writing with it and it still works. I chose a cheaper pen for my waterproof pen so that if I forgot the ink in it, I didn't wreck something really expensive, and I'm very happy with that choice. It's been a great decision, but I also quite like this pen. I just didn't want to commit to something expensive for a waterproof pen because, especially with a brain injury, I do forget about things. It's how I wrecked all my dip nibs. I was cleaning them, I got distracted, and I forgot that I was in the middle of cleaning them. So I really wanted a pen for my waterproof ink that wasn't super expensive, and so I'm quite happy with the Forest. And I like that it's a bright color. I got it in the rainbow finish. They come in a whole bunch of finishes, but the rainbow finish I find really eye-catching, and so I also don't lose it super often. Like, it's not a black fine liner where almost every pen is black. It's something really easy to see. Then we have Ferris Wheel Press Storied Blue in the Kaweco Sport Mellow Blue. This pen's been inked up with this color since October, which I keep saying is 8 months. Somebody corrected me and went, it's, almost 10 months now, so that's fun. Oh, clearly you needed to be re-inked. Huh. I was wondering why you were writing so weird earlier. I do find that this one specifically gets air pockets in the feed for whatever reason. And so it will look like it doesn't need to be re-inked, but it actually does. We're also getting to the point that this pen is getting really awkward to re-ink, because I've used probably a third of this bottle. So it's starting to get a bit awkward to re-ink this tiny thing, but we're making it work, and I will keep making it work. I actually, though, have an 85 ml bottle of this ink because I know that when I run out, I will be sad. So I've already prepared for that eventuality. I will say I can never re-ink this pen without a massive number of air bubbles. There's just something about it that it's just prone to air bubbles. So I don't like erasable inks. I will say the only erasable / water soluble inks I use, I've got one water soluble pen I use for sewing. The issue with erasable inks is that if the page gets cold, your ink is going to come back. Or if the page gets hot, everything's going to disappear. So I don't really like them. I live somewhere that there can be huge ranges in temperature, and I'm always afraid that if I leave a notebook in a car on a summer day or on a winter day, oh. I did not know there was an erasable fountain pen ink. If it works differently than the friction inks, then yes, I would be totally interested in trying it. I didn't know there was one out there for fountain pens, and I think it sounds super cool. But currently the only erasable ink I use is when I sew. The Navalier is getting topped up with Midnight Blue. I don't know that it actually needs to be. We'll see. Doesn't actually need all that much. But better to just top everything else up. All right. Ooh, Acker. Okay, so I don't own any bottles of Ackerman inks yet. There are a couple I'm looking at, but they're hard to get here. And so I pretty much have to order them from the US or from Europe. So I've yet to purchase any Ackerman inks, though there are some on my list, and I did try some at the Chicago Pen Show. So I'm interested to try out more Ackerman inks. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a mess because I do want Celadon Cat in this pen. And I sort of can't believe that the opening is smaller, but it appears to be, it is, because you fit in there. All right. That is more than enough ink. All right. I'll promptly get distracted. Yes, please. I just quickly went to Van Ness and it looks really cool. That looks really cool. Let's ink the Leonardo. All right. I'm gonna do something really sacrilegious, and I'm gonna pour the rest of the sample back in this bottle. Because I don't feel like dealing with a sample of Celadon Cat when really I only need it because this pen does not fit in that bottle. So now that that's all tidied off, I normally do quite like complex writing like I do proper writing samples in these videos. That being said, there's going to be a proper like inked sidewalk sale video. But I feel bad not showing off all the new stuff that I've inked this month. So we're gonna grab some new paper because we went to Muji a couple weeks ago and I bought a book for, what was it? $1. So I label them with a Sharpie or with, I've got like clear labels, not clear labels, like white labels that I use on them. I just didn't feel like labeling that one. So I got this one for $1 because it has a coffee stain on it. And I just wanted to test out the Muji paper. So we're going to use this for today's writing sample. I just had my Esterbrook bee. There it is. Come back here. All right. So We're gonna do all the new stuff on one page and we'll do all the normal stuff on the other. I don't love that this doesn't have dots. Don't expect that anything's gonna be straight. But this is the Did I just spell diamine wrong? No, I didn't. I did spell cat wrong. Well, brain injuries are rough. Yeah, so we have, I think there's like 6 or 7 Mujis across Canada, and there happen to be, I think, 2 close-ish to me. So we don't go very often, but we did go a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to try out I did a video comparing their version of like the cola ring dippers to actual cola ring dippers to see which I liked more. Oh, what's this? This is I don't know that I like this paper. It's like almost too soft. What's this? This is the You're not gonna write? What's this ink? This is I think that's a perfect match. That's so pretty in that pen. Oh. This is the And this should be the 82 with the Architect. This is a weird, I'm realizing that this is a weird color story this month. But you know what? I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. It's like sort of muted, it's sort of bright, it's like just sort of doing its own thing. Is there any, so I use, lots of the pens I have use standard international cartridges. Or a standard international short. Like I'm willing to use a cartridge with most of my pens. I think the only ones that don't use standard international, oh no, I gave that to Mom. I did have a Lamy, but currently it's in Mom's possession. But most of what I have is standard international, other than the pistons. What is this? This is a Pilot. With, I can never remember what this ink's called. Snow Light Blue. Honestly, I'm not mad at that color story. All right, and then on this side, we're gonna do the standard stuff. So. Fantastic. Yes, I have lots of Kaweco cartridges. I just don't always use them. That being said, I do travel with them, so they will get used. Such a crazy color story this month. I'm so used to like the normal color stories I do, the sort of muted stuff and everything, that having this different color story. Are we back? We're back. Sorry, I didn't realize my phone was dying. Having a different color story this month is just sort of odd. So, Kaweco Sport. This is another sport. Dusk and Bloom. Let's do the last two sports. Yes, I can, and there will also just be a video where I swatched all the inks I've got inked up this month. I just felt bad that at the end of this video I didn't show off all the pens and inks. So yes, and also there will be a whole separate edited video where I also do a pen and ink walkthrough. Honestly, I like the Muji paper. It's nicely smooth. I just wish it had dots. We'll do the highlighter last. We'll actually do both of those last. So this is all right. So the way I tend to do my swatch writing samples is that I both do a swatch of the ink, but then I also write with the pen next to it so that you can see both. That's just how I prefer to do it. It is a gorgeous pen with a fun nib. I really like that pen. Yeah, I was very happy with it. So let's take a look. Standard inks wise, it's a pretty, like, other than the Navagio and the Wancher, so I switched the Pilot and the Wancher. For a long time, the Pilot was my daily inked gray pen. I've now switched it with the Wancher. But other than the Navagio, most of these pens have been inked up for a number of months. This side, on the other hand, has a lot of fun new stuff in it and a lot of new colors in it, or colors that I've used in the studio but haven't necessarily put in pens. And so that's quite exciting. I'm glad that I put Treasured Manuscript into something so big. I think it needs something big, though I'm still not sure that I like it enough. I do wish I'd got Oyster Hour. I just, when I was looking at swatches of it online, thought I liked it enough to get a bottle of it. So I know better now. It's just a bit too green for my liking. Other than that, though, I love this. That goes so well with this pen. Like just the pink in it. Oh, I'm so happy. So there we go. There are all the pens that I have inked to take up to Chicago with me, or take down to Chicago with me. Okay. Maybe it's just because it looks different than the online swatches. I was hoping for something a bit more like just neutral, and maybe that's my issue, is that I was hoping for just like a more cream color, and it's just a bit too yellow for me. But I'm a big fan of gray too. It's weird to me that I don't have another gray inked up this month, but I know I'm picking up some stuff there. And so I tried not to ink up too many pens. That being said, I've inked up a lot of stuff, but the stuff I've inked up is like fun stuff, that some of it is stuff like friends have asked me to bring for them to try. And some of it is just stuff that I know I'm going to want. So I've inked up more than I thought I would, but I like everything. And so it's going to be good. And plus, at the Chicago Pen Show this year, I regretted not bringing more pens in sort of fun nib sizes. Yeah, I regretted not bringing my, I think I brought my Architect, but I regretted not bringing my bent nib and stuff like that. So I've packed it this time. We'll see if I actually like having it, or if, you know, for the next pen show, they're going to stay home. What's your favorite color family? I really like sort of like pinks, purples, and blues. I would say it's not a color family, but I really like muted dusty colors. They're where my interests tend to be, just in general. Muted dusty colors are my favorite. So when I'm buying a color, 9 out of 10 times I'm looking at a muted or dusty color. They're just what I really like writing with. So other than that, I'm pretty flexible. I own a lot of stuff that's not muted or dusty, but they are what I tend to prefer. I wish they were easier to find sometimes. But I think this month, like, it's a good mix of like color, and then like we've got Madame Mulberry back in a pen, which for a long time, up until Chicago, was always in a pen. I just didn't want to travel with a Parker 45, was it? No, I didn't want to travel with a Parker 21 to Chicago. So I didn't have it inked up, and then I just haven't inked it up since. So we'll see when I ink it up again. Ooh, yeah. There's also the Robert Oster does, I think it's called the Muddy series, that were limited edition inks, and I really like those. I currently don't own any Robert Oster inks, and the Canadian dollar is not great right now. So actually, I had made a huge list of things I wanted to pick up at the show, and I have really cut that list down, which I'm actually going to talk about in my show video, or in my pre-show video, because I had a very large list of things I was planning to pick up. And then right now, I think it costs about $1.46 or $1.47 for every single dollar of US cash you want to get. So I've cut down my list significantly. There are only a couple of absolute musts. I want to get a pen tuned. I'm going to pick up the show ink. We'll see what else I get. What is the tax in Illinois? Because I can't think it's higher than what we pay here. Okay, no, so it's not. Okay, it's not higher than what we pay here. I think we pay something like, I think it's 15% sales tax here. So it's not higher than what we pay here. But the dollar's not great right now. So I've cut down my shopping list significantly. And we'll see if I end up adding anything else. Though right now there's a lot of things I want to try or see in person, because there are lots of inks that I'm interested in, but I don't know that I'll actually like them when I see them in person. So it's a very long list of inks that I want to look at. I'm hoping Atlas has most of them swatched out in their book, and I can look at them and take pictures of them and then make some decisions on if they're going to be something I want to add at some point. But for now, thanks for watching. This was fun and highly productive. Normally I'm quite slow at re-inking my pens, but I find that when I do things like this live, I tend to work a bit faster, which is very helpful. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for hanging out.